and road theft will replace the said scheme. In an era today where most countries and governments are going back to protectionism, unfortunately for India, under the MEIS, we have no option. However, what is encouraging is the government is ready to listen to the industry, is ready to get the industry's viewpoint. It wants the industry to contribute data, figures, so that it helps the government in stabilizing the road theft rates. Hence, it is the duty of our members and us that we submit the correct data and to make sure that maximum benefit can be derived from the road theft rates. Initially, the common understanding is that the road theft rates would be much lower than MEIS. It may be true, however, but what we need to understand today from our eminent speakers and panelists is that how can we maximize this benefit? हमें ये देखना है कि कोई भी benefit, कोई भी aspect business की छूट ना जाए. So that's something which we need to incorporate. As per our knowledge, which is very important, is that if we do not submit this data within the stipulated time period, chances are the rates will not be fixed and we would repent then or later. This has also happened in case of MEIS before, and it will again happen if we do not put our best foot forward. With these few words, I would like to hand over the proceeding to Naveen ji, who is also a director at MRAI, to take forward this seminar for today. I am sure with his efforts and the efforts of all the panelists, the interaction today will be a very informative and knowledgeable one. Before Naveen ji, you take over, I request Sufyan to please play the MRAI video for us, please. Thank you.
MRAI is the apex association of India, representing the voice of the Indian recycling industry, with a vision to promote responsible recycling in the country. MRAI was established in the year 2011 as Metal Recycling Association of India, with a focus on secondary ferrous and non-ferrous metals. However, over the years, MRAI has expanded its reach to include other recyclables such as plastic, paper, e-waste, tire and rubber, glass, automobiles, etc. The name of the association has since been changed to reflect the same, and today Material Recycling Association of India has a collective strength of more than 1,200 members, representing various recyclable commodities and comprising over 20,000 small, medium and large enterprises, directly and indirectly employing 25 lakh people. Recycling has multifold benefits beyond just saving landfill acreage. To list a few, it replaces the need and dependence on finite virgin materials such as iron ore and bauxite and increases the resource security of the nation. Use of recycling processes consumes less energy and water and reduces greenhouse gas emissions when compared to primary processes that use virgin ores. Recycling generates 6 times as many jobs as just waste management practices. Recycling is a pan-India activity employing people from all backgrounds, including women and low-skilled labor. Recycling industry requires less capital investment, has a lower gestation period, and can be set up close to generation and consumption points. MRAI is officially recognized by the Government of India, and it regularly interacts with various departments at a local, state and national level. MRAI has worked with many government ministries on different policies and studies related to recycling, such as the Draft National Material Recycling Policy, Niti Aayog, Steel Scrap Policy, Ministry of Steel, End-of-Life Vehicle Recycling Policy, Ministry of Road Transport and Highway, Resource Efficiency Policy, MOEF, Study on Ferrous Market in India, JPC, Study on Aluminium Market in India, Ministry of Mines, and many more. our industry contributed to the government's Swachh Bharat, Make in India campaigns and policy of Plastic Park. India's recycling rate at a meager 20% is well below global averages. We all need to collectively work hard to promote recycling as a sustainable business model. MRAI's vision is to work alongside industry and government and help create advanced infrastructure and right policies which could push the recycling rate above 50% in next 5 years. The world is working towards zero waste policies and circular economy concepts. India cannot afford to be left behind. The trade and free flow of recyclables must also be promoted so that Indian consumers and manufacturers continue to have access to environmental friendly and competitive resources and raw materials. We strongly believe that scrap is a mine above earth, and any wastage of scrap or impediments in recycling is a crime against future generations. From this platform, we would like to thank all our members for their long-term association with MRAI.
Thank you, Sufyan. Thank you, Anirudh. Welcome all the participants in today's webinar on remission of duties and taxes on export products, and welcome all our panelists and speakers today. So, it's a webinar as a part of knowledge series by MRAI, which we have done in past also in plastic sector and other sector where policy matters were related to MOEF or NITI Aayog or Ministry of Mines. So this is mainly focusing on the benefits which will be coming out from the change of the existing policy. Our today's webinar will mainly focus to understand the background of previous scheme and rationale behind the new scheme, where we have to prepare an action plan for collection, vetting and submission of data for considering our products under new scheme for getting the export benefit. For the knowledge of our panelists and our participant, I would like to mention here that currently, as Anirudh said, we will be doing an export of over $1 billion USD in 2021, and the main export which is coming is non-ferrous metal ingots, out of which lead and lead alloy ingot, aluminium alloy ingots, brass and copper ingots, some form of zinc oxides and lead oxide. I came to know recently craft paper, Trump rubber, e-waste after some processing, some plastic after some processing are being exported out of the country. And when with the existing MEIS scheme is not applicable on few of the items, like brass ingots are not covered, lead and lead ingots are not covered, and many other products are not covered, though they are doing an export of over 3,000 crore. Since this scheme is going, this is the right time we put our data to get into the new scheme, which is known as RODTEP. Coming back to today's conference, I would like to invite our first speaker, Mr. S.N. Panigrahi, who is a well-known international business consultant, a corporate trainer, and an author of more than 500 articles published in various journals and periodicals. He has done more than 150 workshops globally, including PMP, FIDIC, and Six Sigma. He is also co-chairman of Indirect Taxes and Foreign Trade Committee of India. I welcome Mr. Panigrahi. Stage is yours, sir.
Namaskar. Just I will open. So namaskar to everybody, organizers, panelists, and all other delegates. Just my presentation I made, it is visible to all of you.
Yeah.
The screen is now visible.
Yes, it is visible, sir.
Okay. Are you sure you want to start here? Yes. So let us start this workshop, seminar. on the new export promotion scheme, that is a RODTEP, and already background is explained by the panelists Naveen ji and others also been explained, and we briefly cover the background, then we'll go about what is the RODP, then other aspects of the scheme we'll discuss, and this is the agenda. And also we have means this is an opportunity for everybody, in fact for the export community, especially this recycling products export. Many aspects are there where we are not able to get the refunds, as already told by Naveen ji and others also. So this is a wake up call, like it is an opportunity one side, and the other side is a wake up call. The opportunity in the sense, which are the products like this brass and lead ingots is not at present under MEI scheme. So there is an opportunity we can get that fixed for the new scheme. And is wake up call because MEI scheme for the existing products which we are enjoying at present, some are maybe 2% or 3%, some maybe even higher percentage up to 5%. This is going off. So therefore it is an opportunity, at the same time a wake up call to get the rates fixed, otherwise our exports to that tune or to that extent will be not competitive. So with this agenda, let us start this theme. In fact it is a worldwide accepted phenomena, and it accepted means a scheme that exports and taxes should not be exported when we are exporting the goods or services. Goods and services only should be exported, not the taxes or any of the duties. So that is the universal accepted phenomena, and India also having many schemes through which we are getting these taxes and duties either exempted or refunded. And some of the schemes at present, what is there, I will tell you as a background, then I will come to the new scheme. At present we have many schemes through which the taxes, duties and other levies are being either exempted or it is being refunded. Some of them I will talk to you. One of them is MEI scheme. It is a purely an incentive scheme under chapter 3 of the foreign trade policy. Under this, actually this is a thumb rule, like they are given the rates. There is no scientific calculation behind it, very scientific calculation not there, but of course they are taken certain indexes and other things. Based on that they frame these rates with consultation of the various export promotion council and other trade bodies and etc. They have made the fix the rates, and this is actually to means incentivize, because we have infrastructure related inefficiencies and logistic related costs are incurred for our exports. To some way some percentage of that cost is been given to us as some benefit. Under this, the transferable duty scrip are being issued by the DGFT, which can be transferable, or if you want to import, then import duty whatever there, that can be offset to this screen, the value of the scrip. So this is MEI scheme. The second scheme is under chapter 4 of the foreign trade policy, is advance authorization, and this scheme is for quite long years is there, and this scheme is to means exempt the imported inputs. For example, the raw material, packing material, consumables which are been going into the production of the exportable products are being either exempted when you are importing, or if you want to procure from the domestic market also through deemed export provision, these taxes are been refunded. Whatever the tax is incurred, that has been refunded through deemed export provisions. So this is the about the this advance authorization. This is allowed as per the SIA norm, means standard input output norms, for the what are the raw materials inputs or packing material, consumables, all these things being standardized. So through that this scheme is operates through SIA norms. Then other scheme is there, EPCG scheme. This is under chapter 5 of the foreign trade policy. Under this policy, the capital goods or the these machineries or equipments, or including even spares also, which goes into the which is required for manufacture of the exportable products, are allowed to import at zero duty. So this is a benefit actually. This is also treated as an incentive for the exporters. Then we have another scheme is that duty drawback. It is been governed by the Revenue Department under Section 75 of the Customs Act. This is operating. So there is a all industry rate is there. Here it is called AIR. Through all India industry rates, the rates are being fixed, and as per that the exporters are benefiting at a fixed percentage of the FOB value. So this is one type of refund scheme. So these at the present, these are the schemes are available. These apart, there are special schemes are there like EOU scheme, similarly the SCZ scheme. So these are especially for the customs bonded manufacturing facilities. So there also the duties and taxes are being exempted, or if anything is there, refunded also. So these are the broadly the schemes available at present. And another taxes under the GST we are talking about, because which are not covered under those schemes, there is GST also a factor. So here also exports are being treated as zero rated export supply. When it is zero rated supply, you are allowed to take inputs what are been getting into the your production. So those on those inputs, whatever the GST is been paid, you are allowed to take the ITC. ITC has been allowed. And whenever you are exporting, there are two options are there. Under one option, without payment of GST, under LUT, you can export. And the other scheme is other option with payment of IGST and get the refund of the IGST whatever you have paid. So these are the two schemes are there. Under the first scheme, for example, under first option, without payment of GST, whatever ITC you have taken means input tax credit you have taken for the inputs on which GST has been paid, and if this ITC has been accumulated, then you have an option to get refund of the ITC whatever you have been accumulated. Okay. Then under second option, you have the option to means this ITC whatever is there, that you are adjusting when you are paying the IGST on payment of the tax, and whatever you have paid the tax, that is the IGST, that will be refunded. So here also whatever the taxes have been incurred on the export products are being refunded. So these are the broadly the schemes available at present. And the duty scripts behind, I will tell you a little bit of the story. For the quite long years, we have the foreign trade policy under which various types of incentives have been given. In 2004 and 9 export foreign trade policy, there is a target plus scheme was there, and through which there are certain incentives are being given to the exporters. Similarly, in 2009 and 14, broadly 5 different schemes are being brought in. One is a focus product scheme, FPS, then focus market scheme, FMS, then market linked focus product scheme, that is ML, FPS, then agriculture infrastructure incentive scheme, then Vishesh Krishi Gram Udyog Yojana, and status holder incentive scheme. So these are the different incentive scripts are being introduced to incentivize the exporters. Okay. And then in 2015-20 foreign trade policy, all these 5 export promotion schemes are there. These are under chapter 3 of that. All these are merged into one single scheme called MEIS, Merchandise Export from India scheme. And similarly for services also they are extended, Service Export from India scheme. And this MEIS scheme, most of you must have knowing, it is now going off. Various reasons what are that I will tell you. So it is going off. The deadline is already given, and deadline is 31st December 2020. and this scheme is available only up to that time only. After that, this is no more available to us. And in fact, government is recognized quite some time. Apart from this, what are the existing schemes through which we are getting the refund of duties or taxes are exempted, but there are certain levies are there at state level as well as at central level. Those are not being refunded or exempted. So that was recognized in 2016, and they introduced a scheme that is a rebate of state levies. What are the state level levies are there? For that, they want to introduce a scheme through which those levies can be refunded. So, but this is very limited to only one small sector, that is the garments and made-ups. These only 61 and 62 chapters they introduced this scheme. Later they expanded the scheme's scope of it in 2019. Then it called rebate of state and central taxes and levies. So they expanded the scope of the both center as well as the states. So that scheme is now operating for only again that small sector, that is again into the garments and made-ups only. Only these two areas under chapters 61 and 62 only these are available. Okay. And of course the MES is going off, and for other sectors other than the garments and made-ups, there is no other scheme is available. So what's next? Next scheme is, that is what they introduced, this new scheme they call ROD TEP, and what is the scheme we will discuss, but when it will comes, that is a question mark I left. It all depends on all of us, because government is taking already actions, and government is inviting the data from all the exporters and export community through various associations and export promotion councils and various trade bodies. They are calling the data so that scientifically they want to fix the rates, and that is why till now, of course, not progressively, not many of the exporters come forward to submit the data. Lot of gap is there. Only very scanty some details are coming through, but otherwise mostly the details are not come yet. So that is why I left this question mark. But the deadline for the going of the exit of the MES is certain. Already the declared notification is issued, and already that signals are given. Now they discouraged it. So once this goes in next, say another 2.5 months, less than 2.5 months is there now. So if it goes off, then what is the next? So that is the question mark now. Are we ready to prepare for it? If we are getting some product, for example, some products we are getting 2% or 3%, to that extent we are sacrificing the we are ready to sacrifice that benefit. Then how we can stand in the international market? So that is the question now. With this, let us start with, of course I told you this ROSL and ROSL TL. These schemes only limited to only two sectors, that is the garments and this ready made ups. And after this scheme, of course this scheme is for just I'll show you. This is for the garments are they're giving 6.05%, and for made ups they're giving up to 8.2%. Of course this is a maximum, but various rates are there in between like this. So this is little bit they understood that the importance of the taxes and duties which will affect our export competitiveness. So therefore they given this much percentage. If that percentage also we can get, or to that near to that percentage, somewhere at above 3 or 5% up to, so if you get it, then to that extent our products can be very competitive. So countdown is started as I told you, and December it is going. This is very certain, and this notification is issued. This is under this notification they told the MES shall not exceed. Again they started the means cap also they started already. The cap is the MES shall not exceed 2 crores per IES, means per exporter, that is a import and export code per exporter, that MES benefit should not cross more than 2 crores. So that cap is already given. for the exports starting from the 1st September 2020. Okay, and also they told this scheme shall not be available for exports made with effect from the 1st January 2021. So the signal already given very clearly, and notification is issued. And also if you see, in fact today only I have verified in the DGFT website, the MES scheme, what out is there, the shipments are made under the MES scheme for effective from the 1st of April onwards. They're stopped, they're not giving at present, citing that funds are not available. Okay, the what are the message is coming, you see, exporters may kindly note that online module would be accepting MES applications for shipping bills with let export date from 1st April 2020 after adequate funds are available. When that funds will be available, God knows. But already they have given a cap. Means only when the funds are available, then you will get from the effective from the 1st April. And from this 1st of September 2020, already that cap also they made maximum per IEC is 2 crores only. So given these signals, given these directions, given these notifications, very clear now MES is going off. Another reason for why it is MES is going off is major concern again. United States, US has made a complaint with the WTO that India is extending certain schemes are there, those are tantamount to subsidy. These schemes should go off. So they have made a complaint, and of course we lost the case, and this WTO also ruling has given that these schemes should go off, means we have to withdraw this scheme. One of the major scheme is what we are talking about, MES scheme. MES scheme will go off now very clearly because it is WTO pressure. If we are not means removing, then the consequence will be even much worse, that though the government of India is giving some incentive in the form of MES, but the importing country, because we lost in WTO that case, so importing country can impose anti-subsidy duty. As a result, our Indian government funds will go to the US government. So that is the consequence can happen. As a result, the product will not be competitive, because ultimately the customer looks up net landed cost in his land. In his place he wants the net landed cost only. So when anti-dumping duty is imposed in the importing country, whatever you take the MES from the government of India and factor those things in your export pricing, but it will be counter effective because their anti-subsidy is there. So ultimately the customer will not be benefiting. As a result, our products also will not be competitive. So this is the forthcoming scenario. So at present, of course, we are not able to get many of the taxes and levies on which we are paying the taxes and various types of duties or taxes or in local levies, but those we are not getting the refund. So this is an opportunity. Therefore, the government has now started a new scheme, the ROD TEP. That scheme we will discuss now. The refund of this scheme means what at present we are not getting refunded, that we have to get now. So they told, government is informed that in the lines of the ROSCLTL, means it's a rebate of state and central taxes and levies. On the similar lines, they want to extend the benefit to all other sectors also. Means this is at present is confined to only 2 sectors, garments and made up products exports, but this scheme, similar like this scheme, they want to extend to all other export sectors also. So therefore they brought this scheme, they called this is a ROD TEP, means remission of duties or taxes on export products. In a budget speech on 1st February 2020, Honorable Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharamanji, she has announced the product, this new scheme, and followed by immediately the Economic Affairs Committee of the Cabinet. Also, this is chaired by Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji, already approved it. So the scheme is now approved scheme, and followed by further the interministerial committee also formed, and now government is inviting rates, means data, not rate, data is inviting from the various sectors. And the scheme also given estimated the cost, also they have sanctioned it. 50,000 crores is been that that incentive scheme is been estimated. So budget estimation is given, and the Economic Affairs Committee has cleared it, this scheme approved. Interministerial committee also formed, and now they call lot of data from the concerned export community, and through of course this is through these export promotion councils and various trade bodies which are been specified, and through them there is been called for the data. And under this scheme, various unrefunded taxes and duties, at present we are not getting those things, those will be covered, so that this is an opportunity for everybody, every exporter, because MES scheme is going off, and those who are not at present enjoying MES scheme, that is also an opportunity for everybody, is an opportunity to get these rates fixed, so that our exports will be very competitive. Of course, we are foreseeing a lot of export growth, but the growth should not be stumbled because of the non-competitiveness. Because if you get say 3% or 4% or some exports 5% of FOB value, that is a good competitive advantage in the international market. The committee is formed with 4 members, and their objectives are given. They circulated long back to all the interministries, then EPCs, mean export promotion councils, commodity boards and trade bodies, and others also they circulated, inviting the data or information for the fixation of the rates. Timelines are fixed, but of course now it is going up, the whatever they are talking about, we have to see how the timelines can be committed and fulfilled, because the data is not coming through from the exporters. Then what is the various embedded taxes? We are talking at present, some of the taxes, duties or levies, local levies are not being refunded, or those are not being exempted. So what are those tentative list like? Let us state level VAT on the fuel used in this transportation. That is a major sector, because transportation constitutes one of the major core of the cost. A greater element of the cost is constitutes. So on that, what are the fuel we are used at present? For example, diesel is not under the GST, so that nowhere you can get the refund or ITC. ITC means input tax credit, you can't get it. So those VAT whatever you are paying is taken as a cost by the transporters, and adding the cost and charging from you, means exporters. So that VAT is one of the levy which is at present nowhere been exempted or refunded. Similarly, VAT on fuel used in the generation of the captive power plants, or the VAT on the fuel used in the farm sector, or the mandi tax, or duty on electricity charges, then stamp duty on export documents, then SGST paid on the inputs of the various like fertilizers, pesticides and other agriculture inputs, then embedded tax in the CGST for the purchase from the unregistered dealers. For example, your packing materials you are purchasing from the unregistered dealer, for example, but that next step, the back end, he is purchasing some craft paper from the registered dealers, so that GST is being paid, and what of the GST is being paid, but he can't take the ITC because he is not a registered person, and he has taken is a cost, and that cost he is passing on to the exporters also for that packing materials. So similarly, there are like an coal on the production of electricity, then embedded CGST on inputs for the transport sector. Means transport sector not only for fuel, but also they are consuming a lot of other means components. For example, servicing. On servicing of the vehicle, for example, transport vehicle, there is a tax is applicable, GST, but the transporter can't take the input tax credit. Similarly, tires changing or any of the components or spares and all things are getting into changed. So on that, what of the GST is being paid, the transporter is unable to take the ITC, input tax credit, so that it is become a cost to him. That cost is again he is passing on to the exporters. Similarly, there are central taxes. Central taxes again on the central tax, this excise duty on the fuel means diesel is continuing, because earlier what are the taxes are there, taxes and duties, those are continuing for the these 5 petroleum products, crude, then petrol, diesel, natural gas and aviation turbine fuel. These 5 products are out of GST at present, because their notification is not come from the rate fixation, so it is there out of the GST at present. So what are the excise duty is being paid on the fuel, that is nowhere been getting means either exempted or refunded. Okay. Similarly, embedded taxes and fertilizers, and this is central tax again, central GST on the fertilizers or this pesticide like other farm inputs, or if you are purchasing from unregistered dealer, again that situation happened like this. So like this, these are the some of the example like I am showing to you, some of the indicative list, but we have to find out from the value chain what are all those incidences. Then we have the rightfully can claim, it is legitimate our right. So that is why we call this an opportunity and wake up call again, because time is rolling out and opportunity we should not miss out. Then objective of this, as I told you, to make the export products competitive, because what are the taxes and duties which is at present is not refunded or rebated, those we can get as a means this through this scheme we will get refund of it. And also once the scheme is actually to promote the exports, means increase our competitiveness in the international market. If the export led manufacturing happens, export led manufacturing, as a result of which lot of employment generation also possible. So employment opportunity also one of the objective of the scheme. And of course the scheme is planned accordingly as per the WTO norms. That is why scientifically they want to make this scheme scientifically with calculation of those embedded taxes and rightfully claim those as a refund, so that in future it should not be any problem at the WTO level. And the salient features of this scheme briefly I will tell you. And as I told you, these are the various embedded taxes, those taxes which at present we are not getting, that through this scheme they want to refund to us. And of course MES scheme will go off, then this will replace that. Not only it is don't call it a replacement, but is beyond it, more than that, because MES scheme is not completely covering all the embedded taxes, but this scheme is an opportunity, it covers many things, much more than MES. So that is what this scheme. And also the sanctioned budget is 50,000 crores are there. Then the salient features of the scheme is it is WTO compatible, as I told you. Through this scheme, of course, procedures are not very clear how they operate. Maybe later they can announce, but at present what they are talking about is an automatic scheme. Unlike that MES scheme, what happened? You have to apply to the DGFT. DGFT give the script. Then you have to operate this benefit through whenever you want to import, that offset can be done. But this is the scheme. Automatically they want to electronic credit ledger they create and digital refund to the exporters. That is what broadly they talked about. But what is the details of the procedures are not known, but later they announce it. Some percentage of FOB value of exports they give this scheme. Under this scheme they give some, say for example 3% or 4% or 5% like that, depends on the products, depending on what are the embedded taxes, what is found out, based on that they fix the rates. Rates are at present not fixed, but they are calling for the data, and there is an apprehension whether this new scheme rates will be less than MES scheme. Yes, some people are worked out and they have started filling up the forms for the data. But most of the things where we are seeing, there we have found that very minuscule benefit they are getting. Yes, they are true that it is much less than MES scheme. They are calculating by 0.5% or 0.6% they are getting when they calculate, because there is many missing points are there which are not worked out. That is what we have found, that what are the missing points, that is very important. If you take all the embedded taxes in the entire value chain, then many of the products definitely it will be much more than MES scheme. But of course, if not able to work out, then definitely it is much less than MES scheme. For example, at present what most of the people who worked out is, up to their own organizational level, what are the data is available, one side the supplier, the other side the export. Means in between what are the data is available they are furnishing. Based on that data, it is much less than MES scheme. Hardly it is 0.5% or 0.6% or less than 1%. But then opportunity is given, government is very clearly talked that you dig down the entire value chain at the means from the origin to your stage till export stage. If you take, then it's beneficial. So we have to go dig to supplier 1, tier 2, tier 3, like that. Let it go to till the originating point. From there, what are the embedded taxes are there, all these are now allowed to take. Now this is an opportunity, that is why we are talking opportunity. If you don't take this opportunity, we miss it out, then our exports also will not be much competitive. Suppose the transport will take, the export you see, here the export unit, there is inward transportation, outward transportation. Some example I am taking a inward, for example. On that, what are the VAT is charged on the fuel. Nowhere we are getting any refund. Similarly, central excise duty on fuel, we are not getting any EA. Similarly, various other GST we have paid on the lubricants, tires or parts or servicing, we are not getting anywhere this. So if you work out enter these things, then it will be much beneficial, maybe much more than MES scheme. Similarly, your export, for example, some of the units are highly energy intensive schemes. Those energy, for example, electricity you are consuming, on that the electricity duty is there. If it is own self generation, captive generation, then the cess also paid on the coal, for example, is thermal power plants. Then compensation cess what you are paying on the coal, nowhere been you have to allow to take the ITC, so that it is taken as a cost. Similarly, like other GST paid in other inputs, various other inputs, including your machineries, for example, for the generation of the, for example, turbines or water generators, all these things, wherever you are taken this paid the GST, but nowhere you are able to take the credit of this. So similar like on farm sector, of course we are done, but I am not talking because next our Rishabji will take up this entire value chain, what are the embedded taxes and other thing, he will explain to you. So I am not going to detail of this here, but this opportunity is there, that is what I am telling. Lot of embedded taxes are there. If you take all these things, then definitely this scheme will be much beneficial, more than maybe MES scheme. Depends upon the product and depends upon the industry, the incidence of the various embedded taxes, based on that it depends. But to my best of knowledge, many of the products we can get more than MES scheme, MES rate. And of course, through this notification, they have called for this data from R1, R2, R3. That formats have been already circulated, and the data is supposed to be given for the 6 months period from the 1st October to 31st of March 2020. This is the 6 months period the data is required, and only manufacturers or manufacturing exporters are entitled to give the data. and from the domestic tariff area, means EOU and SEZ units are not required to submit at present. But the question arises, merchant exporters can give the data? No, at present they told only manufacturers. And the second point, they are telling whether the merchant exporter is entitled for this benefit or not. RODEP, for example, fixed at 4%. Whether the merchant exporter will be entitled to that 4%? Yes, he can be entitled, but the data he can't submit. But once the data means rate is fixed, he is also will be entitled, because all the exporters will be entitled for that once the rate is fixed. So these are the data required. First data, of course, R1 is very simple. From your own company data you have to furnish. There is no issue. And here some difficulty arises because here transport related maximum and the electricity related they are asking for. Some exercise you have to do to dig down. And R3 is a very good opportunity. Prior stage cumulative taxes they call it. So enter supply means that value chain from the originating point, what are the taxes or levies or what are the different duties and etc. been embedded. All these things you can get it. Okay, sir, this is how this government is called for the data. And of course I will not take much time because others panelists also there. They want to share the practical view of this thing, and value chain also they want to discuss. So finally I am talking about this in opportunity, wake up call. Otherwise we will miss the bus, then we are the losers. Okay. With this I want to close this session, hand over the next panelist. And of course Rishabh ji is in touch with all of you, and these are the contact details you can contact if any of us, 3 of the panelists are there, anybody you can contact. With this I thank to the organizers and the other panelists and delegates to listen to my this wake up call. Thanks to all. Thanks a lot. Yes. Hello. 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 Hello.
आज की तारीख में कमेटी ने अभी तक कोई भी अपनी प्रोग्रेस की कोई भी राइटिंग में सर्कुलर या ट्रेड नोटिफिकेशन नवीन जी, अनिरुद्ध जी, शाह जी अभी इशू नहीं की है. सो एवरीबॉडी इज इन द डार्क.
Thank you.
Hello.
एक दो हमारे मेंबर्स ने शायद बात की थी ईपीसी कोलकाता में, वहां पर मिसेस डी मुखर्जी से उनका कुछ बात हुआ था, एंड दे हैव गॉट format also. So for the benefit of the members, we will circulate those numbers and contact numbers as well as that format too.
Because ये मिस डी मुखर्जी मेरे भी टच में है. शी इज द कोऑर्डिनेटर, बट यू नो बेसिकली जो इंटरेक्शन हो रहा है ड्यूटी ड्रॉबैक डायरेक्टरेट से और आरओडीटीपी कमेटी से, वो ये सुरंजन गुप्ता जी का हो रहा है. ये बेसिकली मिस मुखर्जी जो है वो मिस्टर गुप्ता के ही अंडर है.
ओके.
हाँ जी, जिनेश भाई आपका क्वेश्चन.
गुप्ता साहब, हम लोग जामनगर जो ब्रास इंडस्ट्रीज है उसमें ऐसा प्लान आउट कर रहे हैं कि कोई 8-10 मेन एक्सपोर्टर है, उसकी सारी डाटा इकट्ठा करके कंपाइल करें और कॉमन प्लेटफॉर्म पे सबमिशन करें, आइदर थ्रू ईपीसी और जामनगर चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स इज आल्सो मेंबर डेजिग्नेटेड लिस्ट में जामनगर चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स भी अप्रूव्ड है, उसके रूट थ्रू गवर्नमेंट में सबमिट करें 25 अक्टूबर तक। तो जो आप बता रहे हैं कि नवंबर फर्स्ट वीक का मीटिंग है, तो उसमें चांस है कि रिव्यू हो सके।
नहीं, आप बिल्कुल ठीक कह रहे हैं, आप बिल्कुल ठीक कह रहे हैं मिस्टर शाह। सीरियल नंबर 52 में आई कैन सी दैट जामनगर चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स एंड इंडस्ट्री JCCI जामनगर इज वेरी वेल डिफाइंड। और अगर आप जामनगर से अप्लाई करना चाहते हैं तो आप डायरेक्टली जमा कर सकते हैं, आपको EPC के पास जाने की कोई जरूरत नहीं।
I think we have Mr. Panigre also now he has joined back. So
Yeah, there was
Can
some
we
problem because heavy rains
Yeah.
are there in Hyderabad. Because of that, some disconnection happened. So sorry, extremely sorry for this.
okay, so before we have Panigre's presentation, there is one question has been asked that which all are authorized associations. So is there any list through whom which can be sent?
या
Yes,
तो
I think
नोटिफिकेशन कॉपी हम
we
आपको
have
भेज
that,
देंगे।
we have that
हाँ।
notification dated 10th of August. ऋषभ जी आप भेज दीजिए प्लीज।
हाँ मैं भेज देता हूँ।
So we have Panigre's presentation.
Yes.
She has joined back. So
Yeah.
yeah, please.
Now it is visible to all of you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we can.
Okay. Then it's good. Yes. So I don't know where it is been disconnected, but let me start from the beginning. So thank to all of these panelists and these organizers for giving me this opportunity. Let me start with this presentation. And this is on the new export promotion scheme, RODP. And based on this, we'll discuss now. And this is going to be agenda. I will briefly discuss the fundamental before being background of the various schemes at present we have, and where the embedded taxes are there, which are not been at present been either refunded or been exempted or rebated. So therefore, this is an opportunity for us to get the rates, new rates are fixed. And I call this an opportunity because some of the at present some products like this brass and lead ingots export is not entitled for MES scheme. So that also we can take in under the new scheme. Apart from this, because once the MES schemes goes off, then what is the next? That is the beneficial. What is the benefit you will get? How we will be competitive in the international market? So therefore, we call it a wake-up call. Already much of the time is lapsed. Now, of course, we have to wake up to start giving the data to government. Because government is ready now. They announced the scheme, new scheme, but they are seeking the information data from the industry, exporters. Okay. At present, as a universal philosophy or universally accepted norm, the export, whatever we export, either goods or services, we should not export the taxes and duties. So that is the basic concept behind this universally accepted norm. Based on this, our government also announced n number of schemes through which various taxes, duties and other things are being refunded or rebated or exempted. So that is what we are presently at. What are the schemes are available, we will discuss. At present, there is one scheme, MES scheme is there under chapter 3 of the FTP, foreign trade policy. Under this scheme, because Indian exporters are mostly suffering because of the logistic cost, and our logistics cost, as per the one of the estimate, 14% of the our FOB value are going towards the logistic cost. So such a high logistic cost is there because of our poor infrastructure and other related costs. So therefore, government is in one way want to incentivize through this scheme, MES scheme, for the infrastructure inefficiencies are also associated with other costs. They want to give certain amount of refund like. Okay. This is the MES scheme is under through which the DGFT will issue a transferable duty credit scripts, and through which the exporter means the exporter whatever they get on FOB value, a percentage fixed value they get it. That value can be offset when they import any of the items which are required for them. If they don't want to import anything, then option is given, it can be transferable. It can be transferred or sold to somebody else, those who can want to import under the schemes. So this is one way, an incentive scheme. Because of some infrastructure deficiencies, this is being incentivized for the exporters. Next, the second scheme is advance authorization under chapter 4 of the FTP, foreign trade policy, under which various raw materials, packing materials, consumables, those things which are as per the input-output standard input-output norms, means CR norms, is exempted. When you are importing under the scheme, this is duty free, so exempted. So under this scheme, the inputs are being exempted. What are the duties are suffering on that inputs, that is exempted. If you want to procure from the domestic market also, then also the scheme is allowed under the this deemed export provisions. You can procure from the domestic suppliers, so the domestic supplier can enjoy the deemed export benefits. So the next scheme is EPC scheme under chapter 5 of the foreign trade policy. This is scheme for the machineries and capital goods or other spares and other thing. Means what are the machineries are required for the manufacture of exportable products. This scheme entitles, through which you can import the capital goods duty free. So that is what the zero customs duty you can import. So the another scheme is there, that is duty drawback scheme, through which what are the duties you have paid or suffered on the import, that is been refunded after your exports as a certain percentage of your export FOB value. Under the duty drawback, generally they annually they fix the rates. The rates are called as all industry rate, AIR, through which they refund us the duties. So here what are the duties and taxes we have suffered, we are getting refunded. The other one is through GST provisions also, we are getting certain refunded. The taxes whatever we been suffered, that is been refunded. Example I will tell you. Exports are being treated as this zero rated supply. When it is a zero rated supply, you have two options. One is without payment of tax under LUT, or the second option on payment, means with payment of IGST. In the first case, if you are going through these exporters are, because the exports are treated as zero rated supply, therefore the inputs whatever they are getting, on which what are the taxes they paid, that input like packing material, raw materials, or other inputs, consumables, all those things, what are, on that what are the GST is been paid, that GST is allowed to take the ITC, means input tax credit is allowed. And once they operate under the first option without payment of tax, in case the ITC is remain unutilized, the ITC means input tax credit which is remain unutilized or accumulated, then there is the option they can get the ITC refund under the first option. Under the second option, this ITC can be utilized towards payment of IGST, and that IGST can be refunded. So under this scheme, what are the taxes we have suffered, means GST we have suffered, that is being refunded. So at present these schemes are there, through which the taxes, duties which are visible on face of us are getting refunded. But there are many other taxes and duties are there which are not been getting refunded. That I will come in next slides, and I will explain to you what are those. At present, means in the historically there are many duties credit scripts are given. These are like incentivizing the exports. One in a foreign trade policy 2004 and 9, and there is a scheme called Target Plus scheme, that TPS, through which some benefit is given to the exporters. Then a systematic schemes are being announced in 2009 and 14 foreign trade policy. The first one is the Focus Product Scheme, FPS, then Focus Market Scheme, FMS, then Market Linked Focus Product Scheme, then Agri Infrastructure Incentive Scheme, Vishesh Krishi Gram Udyog Yojana Scheme, then Status Holder Incentive Scheme. Like that, schemes are being introduced. The scripts are given. These are like incentivizing the exports. Then in 2015 and 20, all these schemes are being merged into one single scheme, that is called MEIS, means Merchandise Export from India scheme. This is for merchandise goods only. Okay, and then next another one also introduced simultaneously is Service Exports from India scheme for services. But MES, most of you understanding now, you know also, this scheme is going off. Why and other thing I will tell you in the subsequent slides and explain to you. But this scheme is already given an exit route. By 31st December 2020, this scheme is being scrapped. Already discouragement is started, that I will explain to you. And government understanding this aspect and also understanding this MES scheme also not refunding or rebating many of the unrefunded taxes are there, like embedded taxes and duties. What are those embedded taxes and duties? For example, for state levies. So in 2016, they started the rebate of state levies, that is ROSL, means rebate of state levies. They started this scheme. Under this scheme, of course, this scheme is limited to only the two chapters, 61 and 62, that is garments and this made ups. Only to these two sectors only they introduced as a trial basis. Later in 2019, they extended the scope of the scheme to cover even central taxes also, not only the state tax. This is only state taxes, state levies they call it, state levies. Now they call, there are many taxes and duty levies are there, both at state level as well as the central level, which are not being refunded. So therefore, they introduced this scheme in 2019 called rebate of state, central taxes and levies. So this scheme is started in 2019. Now it is continuing only for the two sectors only, garments and made-ups. Since the MES scheme is going off, government is now thinking this similar like scheme can be extended for many other sectors also, not only for the garments and made-ups, but other sectors also they want to extend it. Therefore, this new scheme is proposed, ROD TEP. Under this scheme, they are inviting lot of data because they want to scientifically fix the rates. Therefore, I have made a question mark. When it will be introduced is not very clear, because still data is not come to the government. Government is ready, they have provided the funds also, but it is our responsibility, it is our onus to come forward to provide the data to the government so that we can get the advantage of the new scheme. That is what I told you, these schemes. At this scheme, present this scheme, this ROSTL scheme, for the apparels it is giving 6.05%, that is maximum, and for made-ups it is going up to 8.2%. So such a benefit is there. This type of benefit also they want to extend to all other sectors, all other export products. These are the rates, something like example I have shown to you. As we have already discussed that countdown is started for MES and the scheme is going off. This is certain that scheme will go, exit is certain. There is a notification issued, this is the notification on 1st of September 2020, and first step what they did is they restricted the MES scheme, the benefit, to maximum 2 crores per IEC, per exporter, means then 2 crores only maximum benefit you can get from the export effective from the 1st September 2020 to 31st December 2020. Means this 6 means from September to December this rate, and after December what will happen? Then entire it is scrapped. Though the MES scheme is not available for the exports made effective from the 1st January 2021. So this scheme is up to 31st December only available, that too with restrictions. The 2 crores restriction there, and further restriction I will show you. Now the DGFT site is not accepting any of the MES applications. Citing, in fact today only I tried it, it is showing that exporters may kindly note that online module would be accepting MES applications for shipping bills with let export date from 1st April 2020 after adequate funds are made available. Adequate funds are available means with the context of some of the that scheme is now discouraged, that they are not even accepting the application at present, even though rightfully we are eligible to take it. From the 1st April exports whatever happened, that is let export date, they are not accepting any applications at present, citing that there is no funds are available. And from the 1st of September 2020 again there is a cap they made up to 2 crores only maximum, and further the cap is subject to 5,000 crores maximum allocation for the MES. Last year the MES scheme, under the scheme 45,000 crores been sanctioned and means paid to exporters, refunded to the exporters, and now that is reduced to this extent of 5,000 maximum they are talking about, and now also they are not accepting the applications. Then exporters are losing this benefit. That is why I told MES going is certain, and the reason for why it is happened is United States, US, they made a complaint on the 14th March 2018 with the WTO, citing that India is extending certain type of subsidies to their exporters, citing one of the major scheme is MES this scheme they cited, and under the WTO ruling also they confirmed that these are the tantamount to incentives. Therefore they ordered also to remove this or withdraw these incentives, means subsidies to withdraw. Therefore the government is taking actions. It is going certain by December 31st is the last date. That is what the MES scheme is going off. Okay. Now if this scheme is going off, what is the next availability? At present of course many of the taxes, not only the scheme is going off, MES scheme, but also exporters suffering. Many of the taxes, duties or levies are being suffered on the entire value chain, which are at present through no scheme are being refunded. Through no scheme it has been rebated or exempted. Therefore this is an opportunity we have to take. So these taxes and duties anyhow MES going, not only MES but beyond it many of the taxes, duties which is not covered under the many of the schemes at present. So this is an opportunity that given the government is given under the new scheme. Okay, means it's not like a replacement to MES scheme, but I'll say it is much beyond the MES scheme, because entire embedded taxes and levies are being allowed to take the refund. That is what the next what we are talking. Government is ready. They already announced it, and just a minute. Yeah, this is on the budget speech on the 1st of February 2020. Honorable Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman ji announced about the new scheme, that is the remission of duties or taxes on export products, ROD TEP. This scheme is announced, and subsequently on 13th March 2020 the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs chaired by Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji, it has been approved. means the scheme is now legally made a means formation has happened, means approved, that scheme is approved, and also 50,000 crores has been allocated for the scheme. The budget allocation also made. Okay. So from the government side, it is clear that they are means ready to incentivize, means not incentive, rebate the embedded taxes what have been suffered in the entire value chain. So this is how the actions are being taken. Now the government is seeking data for the rate fixation. This is the remission of duties and schemes, as I told you, under which at present what are the taxes, duties or levies suffered at various stages in the entire value chain back end, but not been refunded at present or not been rebated at present, covers under the scheme. Okay. And this is what they want to make is a WTO compatible. That is why first I told you taxes and duties should not be exported, and it is universally accepted phenomena or concept. So India also want to, means government also now want to make that scheme scientifically calculate the taxes and duties and the entire this value chain and want to refund it. And under this there's a committee also been formed, 4-member committee, and they are also circulated to all the inter-ministries and EPC and export promotion councils, commodity boards, trade bodies and other things. They circulated to get the information or data. Okay. And of course timelines are rolling out. Of course no fixed means it is the earliest, it is our benefit. Government is ready, but is we has to come forward as exporters. We have to come forward to get this fixed, otherwise we are the losers. Our exports will not be competitive. To that extent of MES is going off, and still we are suffering n number of taxes, levies and then the back end and the value chain. So a typical what are the taxes, embedded taxes and levies are there. Just I want to tell you, like state levies. The state levies, one is VAT on the fuel used in the transportation. Means that diesel whatever you are consuming in the transportation, that diesel is out of GST. This is still going with the previous means levies are there, like excise duty as well as the VAT. So on the state side it is a VAT. That VAT what have been paid, it is nowhere been given any refund or exemption. The transporters are consuming, means taking it as a cost, and that cost is being forwarded or transferred to the exporters also, means exporters suffering this cost. Similarly, VAT on the fuel used in the captive generations of the power, and VAT used in the VAT on the fuel used in the farm sector, and mandi tax, duty on the electricity charges, and stamp duty on export products. Then CGST on inputs, lot of the farm inputs are there, like pesticides, fertilizers or many other inputs are there. Even farmers use the tractors, on the taxes what are being paid, plus tractor usage, the transportation means this fuel, on the taxes what have been paid, all these things are being taken as a cost. So those costs also forwarded to the export. Somewhere it is been inbuilt in our export prices. And many other if you take from the unregistered dealers anything we have purchased, for example packing material we are purchasing from the unregistered dealer. That dealer, for example, corrugated boxes we take, and that dealer in turn purchasing the kraft paper. The kraft paper supplier may be charging the GST. That GST he is not able to take the ITC, therefore he is taken as a cost, and that cost is forwarded to exporters also. So like that, there is embedded taxes are there in state level, similarly on central level also. So these are the some of the tentative taxes are there, or levies are there, that we are not getting anywhere refunded. And now this is objective of the new scheme is make the Indian exports very cost competitive, because these are cost, we are all the levies, what are the embedded taxes and other things are there, that is taken as a cost. As a result, our exports are not very competitive. So the purpose of this introduction is make our exports very competitive by giving this refund to us. And second one, once we are competitive in export and export-led growth of the manufacturing happens, then lot of employment generation opportunities also there. So that is another opportunity. And this scheme is being framed under the WTO norms only. As per the WTO norms only we want to frame, because that is what scientifically they want to calculate, for which the data is being called for. Then the salient features of this scheme, few schemes, some examples I will tell you. And of course, as we told, these are the embedded taxes, and all the taxes and levies what have been embedded but we are not getting the refunded, those will be getting now refund under the scheme. That is the purpose of this scheme. And it is not replacement to MES, as I told you, it is much more than MES. And of course, the funds also been provided. 50,000 crores have been budget sanction was there. And this scheme is, as I told you, WTO compatibly they want to design. And this scheme makes the automated scheme, that is what they are talking about, electronic credit ledger they create, and the digital refund they want to give to the exporter. At present, MES scheme, lot of hurdles are there, bureaucracy is there. We have to apply to the DGFT, and then after the script can be used when we are importing and other thing. So lot of bureaucratic approaches are there. Unnecessary delays also happens. Related costs also there. Okay, but this new scheme they want to not like this present scheme through DGFT, but automatically through revenue means customs. They want to make the digital refund to the exporters as some percentage of FOB value. That percentage of the rate is not fixed. That is why they are calling the rates, the details, the data they are calling for. Based on the data, they will fix the rates. Okay, but the details of the formalities of the how it will operate is not known as of now. But they will announce once the rates are been fixed. Along with that, they may announce the procedures how to make it. At present, there is some apprehension that whether the MES rates at present what you are getting and the new rate what is being proposed, whether the new rate will be less than the MES rates. It is many of the exporters we are interacting are having the same apprehension. So the question is, once you are not able to work out entire value chain, then maybe it may be less than the MES scheme. And many of the exporters they are submitting to various export promotion councils and other things. We are finding that the rates are what they are calculating on the for the new rate fixation, they are working out is less than 0.5% or 0.6% or less than 1%. Whereas at present they are enjoying like 3% or 4% MES scheme under the MES scheme. So they are feeling that it is less than the present MES scheme. The rate will be less than the MES. But if you scientifically go about and systematically work out, then the case may be different. At present, how they worked out is, they are the manufacturers, and one side they are taking from the suppliers, and other side what are they exporting during the transaction, what are the costs and what are the taxes and levies are being suffered, that they are talking about. But at present, from your accounting, from the internally your own organization, if you take it, most of these costs and other thing, most of these taxes or duties, what are the levies, are being already refunded under the various schemes. For example, you are taking the suppliers, he charging the GST, you are allowed to take ITC, ITC is allowed to take the refund, or you can take the you utilize this ITC towards payment of IGST on your exports, you can get the IGST refund. So these type of taxes and levies whatever there, you are calculating with myopic approach of your own organization, then you will not get much of the benefit, because already these most of the things are being refunded through various schemes. So no much benefit you will get, hardly 0.5% or less than 0.5% like that people are talking about. Many things, even best of the best is like less than 1%, at around say 1%. but at present they are enjoying the MES scheme of 3% or 4%, in certain cases 5%. So how you can calculate this new rates? For that, if you go to the back end, enter your value chain from the originating point till your export, then you will getting the benefits. That's what I'm talking about. So suppliers not confined to the only tier 1 suppliers, but go back to the tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 till the originating point. Then work out in the entire value chain the embedded taxes and levies. Then if you work out in this fashion, definitely your tax means this new scheme may be beneficial. Depends upon, of course, the nature of product you have, or the nature of the taxes, or incidents of the taxes and levies in the entire value chain. Depending on that, you can enjoy it. But I'm sure in most of the cases we can benefit much beneficial this under the new scheme if you scientifically work out and in the entire value chain. For example, we take, you are an exporter, there are inward transportation and outward transportation there. Suppose we take the inward transportation. Under the inward transportation, for example, the VAT is paid on fuel, but nowhere it has been refunded to us, because the transporter is not entitled to take ITC, and he takes it a cost. The cost is transferred to you, and we are bearing the cost. Similarly, the excise duty on this fuel again, and what are the GST also paid on the lubricants, tires or parts or the servicing, those GST also the transport is not able to take the credit, means ITC, and that he is taking as a cost. The cost is in passing on to exporters. Similarly, on the outward transportation also it happens. And another example I will tell you about the, for example, electricity. In fact, this metal scrap business, lot of electricity, energy, it is energy intensive means of business or the industry. Here the electricity, for example, what have been consumed, on that electricity that duty is there. Some of the states they are charging up to 6%. So that what of the cost is there, that is been means what of the duty paid, that is taken as a cost, because nowhere you can get any refund or rebate. Similarly, compensation cess paid on the coal which is going in the generation of the electricity, thermal generation, for example, thermal power plants, then that cess also going into the cost. Similarly, other GST paid and other inputs in the power plants, including their machineries, for example, generators or the turbines, whatever may be there, all these things are taken as a cost only. So that cost is passing on to the exporters. And this for the farm sector, for example, we have worked out, but not going to details. This research will cover about the value chain details, so I am not going to cover these things. So just like an example I am telling, in a farm sector also, lot of in the value chain, in the back end, lot of levies are there, taxes are there at state level, central level, but those we are not getting any refund of it, but these are taken as a cost. As a result, our exports are not competitive. Okay. So the question now, because the people have raised the question about this, whether this the new rates of RODTEP, new rates are less than MES or more than MES. The answer is, it depends upon, of course, your nature of products and nature of the incidence of the levies or the embedded taxes. But in most of the cases, if you scientifically work out in the back end, definitely it will work to be more beneficial. So the next, of course, they are given the notification. Through this notification, they are called for this data in the 3 forms, that R1, R2, R3 from the exporter for the 6 months period starting from the 1st October 2019 to 30th March 2020. For this 6 months period, they are asking for the data only from the manufacturers and manufacturer exporters. Therefore, it is very clear that only manufacturer exporters, so that merchant exporters are not being covered. Merchant exporters are not covered. Similarly, that special schemes are there like a EOU and SEZ, they also not covered, because they are talking from the only from the domestic tariff area only they are talking about, those manufacturers who are there in domestic tariff area. Therefore, the EOU and SEZs also not been covered under the for furnishing the data. Then the question arises whether the merchant exporters are eligible for this scheme or not. Once the scheme is fixed, for example, the RODP scheme is fixed, suppose the rate is 4%, whether the merchant exporter is entitled for the benefit of the scheme or not. Definitely he will be entitled. He is not eligible for giving the data only, because he is not a manufacturer, so that entire embedded taxes are not covering under his provisions. He can't give the data, therefore they are not allowed to give the data for the fixation of the rates. But once the rates are fixed, the manufacturer and the merchant exporters also eligible for the scheme. And of course, this is the each product wise, of course, it is required at 8-digit level. That is what they wanted, this 8-digit level for each of the product. So we had to see what are the range of our products. Accordingly, we had to go and collect the data. This is a Herculean task, of course, but it is a beneficial for every exporters. The what are these? The R1, R3, this R1, R2, R3 is covered. This first one, R1, is it is internal your data within your organization. You have that what are the your exported in the that period, that 1st of October 2019 to 31st March 2020. This 6 months period, whatever you are exported, that export data quantity FOB value has to be given at the 8-digit level, of course, product wise. The second one is, this is covers little bit difficult, because here they cover about transportation. On the transportation, what are the embedded taxes like VAT, excess duty, and other spare parts and other thing, also servicing, also what are the taxes paid, those collection of the data little bit beyond your organization. You may not be having this data, but you have to work out. The second one, again electricity duty, again similar like, and other various means stamp duty, other things will comes into picture. The most important one is R3 now. R3, they talking about prior stage, what are the cumulative taxes are there. All this now you can take into consideration. Means how far we can go back end is up to us, so that we can take the benefit. Means we have to dig down the entire value chain, so take the benefit of this embedded taxes. So this is a benefit on the R3. So of course it is required at the 8-digit level, and at least 5 units from each, for each of the product, 5 units has to provide the information or the data for each of the product. That is what the minimum 5 they talks about. So it is has to be routed through this export promotion councils, or some of the notified those trade associations are there, trade bodies are there. Through them we can submit this information. And of course the government is ready, but it is our side only, we had to come forward to provide this data. That is what the finally I am talking, it is a opportunity for the exporters and a wake up call, because we had to open our eyes, that we have to realize that all the years we are losing lot of the benefit. Embedded taxes have been suffered, we are taking the cost, and we are not been able to compete with international competitors in the market. But this is an opportunity. That is what we are talking about. Years together, decades together, we are not getting this opportunity. This is an opportunity for you. It is a wake up call, because it is the time is rolling up, and those who are not even knowing this one has to come forward and submit, and associations are there. Through associations we have to push forward these data. Okay, sir. Of course, this is the WTO compatible, so that future also no worries for, once we are scientifically fixed the rates, and it will no worry about the WTO, we need not worry about anything. So it is beneficial to all of us. So with this I want to close this session, and other panels are there. They will Rishabh ji and Vivek Gupta ji, they will take the further the discussions, and they will talk about. So you can contact any of us. 3 of the details are given. You can contact us. Okay, sir. with this, I thank to this organizers and panelists and delegates for quietly listening to us. And of course, the question answers we can take after all the panelists have been completed. We are taking the question answers. With this, I want to close this one. Thanks to all.
Thank you, sir, for such a detailed presentation. Actually, we did our post-graduation before doing graduation itself. So we had done their presentation when you were off due to technical glitch. So I think Jinesh Bhai is asking some questions.
Yes.
Mute, sir, mute.
अनिग्रही सर,
Yeah.
आपने जो प्रेजेंटेशन दिया
Yes.
उसमें स्टेट लेवी और सेंट्रल लेवी का जिक्र है.
Yes.
कस्टम ड्यूटी इज आल्सो इंक्लूडेड और नॉट?
Yes. Yes. Custom duty is a central duty, sir. Customs is it comes under center, so definitely it covers.
एंड हम जामनगर ब्रास इंडस्ट्रीज
Yes.
जिसमें वैल्यू एडिशन बहुत ही कम होता है,
Yes. Sir. Yes.
हम लोग सोच रहे 5 मिनिमम 5 और मैक्सिमम 10
Yeah.
उन लोगों का डाटा एक कस्टम ड्यूटी जो प्री फिक्स है, गवर्नमेंट को भी नॉन है, उसमें इलेक्ट्रिसिटी कंजम्पशन और ट्रांसपोर्टेशन में इंपोर्ट और एक्सपोर्ट इतनी आइटम ले तो कॉम्प्लेक्स कम होगा और जल्दी से जल्दी अप्रूव होने के चांसेस रहेंगे. बाकी छोटी छोटी अमाउंट टोटल हमारा वैल्यू एडिशन 20% है, तो उसमें वैल्यू एडिशन के पीछे अगर भागेंगे तो हम लोग पेपर में उलझ जाएंगे. तो हम सोच रहे हैं कि 3 आइटम का ही कवर अप करके अगर भेज दे तो जल्दी से जल्दी नोटिफाई होने के चांसेस कैसे लगते हैं आपको?
Sir, my view about this, if your product has a lesser value addition, there is an opportunity is greater for the, means you have incurred lot of the cost. More the cost, more the benefit you can get as a percentage of FOB value. So that is my opinion.
और दूसरा
So we have to see the, yes, yes sir.
ट्रांसपोर्टेशन में फ्यूल का कंजम्पशन, उसमें सेंट्रल एक्साइज ड्यूटी और
That
वेट दोनों का कोई ऐसा प्रीफिक्स्ड है उसकी प्राइस का, या
Yes.
हमारे कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन में?
वो रेट आपको इंडियन ऑयल कॉर्पोरेशन के हर स्टेट के जो है ना एक चार्ट है, आई विल गिव इट टू यू. मैं एमआरआई को भेज दूंगा.
नॉर्मली
तो हर स्टेट का
नॉर्मली मिस्टर शाह साहब, जैसे डीजल 70 रुपए का रेट है, तो आप ये मान के चलिए कि 70 रुपए में नॉर्मली 31 रुपीज इज द एक्साइज ड्यूटी.
ओके.
एंड कितना ऋषभ, 18 रुपीज था. दूसरा कितना था स्टेट वेट? स्टेट वेट इज अप्रोक्सीमेटली लेट अस से
वेरी करता है.
मतलब अप्रोक्सीमेटली आप मान के चलिए कि टोटल स्टेट और सेंट्रल मिला के 70 में से 45 to 50 रुपीज इज द ड्यूटी पार्ट.
लेकिन हमारे पास तो ट्रांसपोर्टर का बिल आता है जिससे 25,000 लिया है.
आप देखिए उसको, जो ट्रांसपोर्टर के बिल है उसको आप डिस्टेंस की टर्म्स में इवेल्युएट कर लीजिए. नॉर्मली अगर मैं आपको रफ कैलकुलेशन समझाऊं तो ट्रांसपोर्टर के बिल में हम लोग 50 to 55 या 50 to 60% हम लोग डीजल कॉस्ट मान के चलते हैं, और ट्रांसपोर्टर से उसके पीछे का सपोर्ट भी ले सकते हैं. आप ट्रांसपोर्टर के पास अगर कोई डायरेक्ट इंडियन ऑयल की जैसे कई बड़े ट्रांसपोर्टर होते हैं, दे प्रोक्योर डीजल बाय टैंकर्स, उनका अगर इंडियन ऑयल डिपो से बिलिंग है तो वो आप निकलवा सकते हैं, उसमें आपको पूरा ड्यूटी इंसिडेंस भी मिल जाएगा. और उसके अलावा आप ट्रांसपोर्टर के जो और टैक्स पेड आइटम है जैसे कि लुब्रिकेंट है, फ्यूल ऑयल है, या और कोई आपका ये मेंटेनेंस है, वो भी एक अच्छी बड़ी कॉस्ट है.
Sir, as a thumb rule, sir, as a thumb rule through my industry exposure, just I'll tell you, for the normal transportation, per kilometer 4 liters of the diesel is being consumed per kilometer. Depending on the distance, you now calculate what is the distance and how much you have paid. So per kilometer 4 kilometers per liter. Per liter it is 4 kilometers. This is the thumb rule.
नवीन जी आप कुछ पूछ
हाँ।
रहे थे।
हाँ, मैं ये पूछ रहा था, जैसे एक ही HSN कोड में दो इंडस्ट्री है, एक इंडस्ट्री पोर्ट के पास में, एक हिंटरलैंड में, नॉर्थ साइड में है, तो जो एक्सपोर्ट करने में जो ये फ्यूल कॉस्ट आएगी इस इंडस्ट्री की ज्यादा आएगी, तो ये जब अपने डाटा देगा तो इसके यहाँ पर और जो पोर्ट नावाशिवा या बॉम्बे या उस तरफ उनमें क्या होगा और कौन सा माना जाएगा?
नहीं, ये पॉइंट आपको नवीन जी मैं याद दिलाना चाहूंगा, अनिरुद्ध जी के साथ डिस्कस हुआ था कि आप कोशिश करके जो हिंटरलैंड इंडस्ट्री है उसका डाटा ही दीजिए, पोर्ट वाले का डाटा आप रहने दीजिए, बिकॉज इस तरह के कंपैरिजन में फिर थोड़ा कोई फायदा नहीं है। बिकॉज अगर आप रेवेन्यू मिनिस्ट्री में 3 तरह के डाटा देंगे तो वो तो एवरेज नहीं निकालते हैं, वो लोग तो फिर सबसे कम को ही पकड़ते हैं।
लोवेस्ट। हाँ, वो तो ड्यूटी कलेक्शन में हाईएस्ट लेते हैं और देने में लोवेस्ट लेते हैं।
एक्चुअली यहाँ पे जो मैंने 3 बताए थे सर, वो काम आ सकते हैं कि जहाँ पे आप अपना इंडस्ट्री का एक सर्विस वैल्यूएशन शीट गूगल फॉर्म पे आप करवा सकते हैं, एंड देन यू कैन सेलेक्ट द सैंपल व्हिच इंक्लूड्स योर मिड एंड लार्ज एंड स्मॉल। दैट विल बी अ साइंटिफिक एक्सरसाइज, क्योंकि आपको वो प्रूव भी करना है कि आपने कैसे कलेक्ट किया।
राइट। एक और क्वेश्चन था, स्टेट टैक्स में कुछ स्टेट्स के अंदर प्रोफेशनल टैक्स है ऑन सैलरी, विल दिस बी पार्ट ऑफ दिस?
नहीं, इसमें सैलरी का पार्ट लेना थोड़ा मुश्किल हो जाएगा, बिकॉज सैलरी जो है वो ओवरहेड्स में चली जाती है। तो वो मतलब उसको आप किस तरह से लेंगे, बिकॉज हम लोग इसमें जो सर्विस टैक्स और सैलरी है वो मुश्किल है, ऐसे तो फिर आप इनकम टैक्स तक भी पहुंच जाएंगे नवीन जी।
सर, वो इनकम टैक्स तो यूनिफॉर्म इन नेचर है, लेकिन जब स्टेट लेवी की बात कर रहे थे तो स्टेट लेवी में जैसे पानीग्राही श्री बता रहे, तो आज की तारीख में मैं बात करूं तो कुछ स्टेट्स के अंदर पर्टिकुलर जैसे राजस्थान, यहाँ पर हाईएस्ट रेट है डीजल की, 82 रुपीज का ही प्राइस आ रहा है, बिकॉज ऑफ यहाँ का जो VAT है वो हाईएस्ट है। सिमिलरली आंध्र प्रदेश है, वहां पे प्रोफेशनल टैक्स एक एडिशनल टैक्स है विच इज नॉट देयर। इवन आई थिंक दिल्ली में भी प्रोफेशनल टैक्स लगता है।
नहीं, ये प्रोफेशनल टैक्स किस पे लेवी हो रहा है, डीजल पे?
नो, प्रोफेशनल टैक्स सैलरी ऑफ द स्टाफ।
Sir, my view is, because we are talking about the product, on the product what are the levies, taxes only we are talking about, not other taxes like it is a professional tax or income tax, all this is not related to the product. We are like indirect tax we are talking, that is not part of like this comes into this levies. So it is my view. So I am sure that it may not be covered under this.
Two more questions
one
have
question.
come. One is, Anil, आप पूछ लिए।
Just one clarification I wanted. Maybe it's a little confusion at my end. This data is being submitted for the period October to March, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
6 months only.
Now suppose if my exports during the period October to March is there, but against which the duty-free import that I do against advance authorization is being done post-March, is being done in the current financial year, तब उस पीरियड में 6 months में हमारी जो एक्सपोर्ट्स हो रही है उसके अगेंस्ट में अगर हमारे कुछ इंपोर्ट्स have happened normally without any duty-free license, तब उसकी customs duty क्या I will be eligible to put it in this for the time being?
नहीं अनुरुद्ध जी, इसमें आप ये मान के चलिए, थोड़ा सा मैं क्लैरिफाई कर देता हूं, मैंने ये बात पहले भी कही है कि इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी जो है वो मैन्युफैक्चरर, अगर आप मैन्युफैक्चरर एक्सपोर्टर हैं तो आपके एंड में जो इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी है वो कंसिडर नहीं हो पाएगी। अगर आपने किसी सेकेंडरी इंपोर्टर से खरीदा है तो वो शायद कंसिडर हो पाए, आपके केस वाली नहीं हो पाएगी।
Perfectly correct.
Sir, let me.
Perfectly correct, Gupta जी। वो मुझे भी लगा कि I was little confused. We were on this track only कि नहीं होगा, but after the presentation today, I thought maybe there is a scope for this to be included.
No,
so fair enough. I agree.
Let me clarify also, sir. Very clearly we told at present what are the duties, taxes are not being refunded. Only those things are covered under the scheme. So therefore, under any of the schemes we have like the MES scheme or this advance authorization scheme or EPCC scheme or duty drawback, what are the schemes we are getting the refund of the taxes, those will not be covered under the new scheme. So very clearly that statement is given.
Sure.
So that
नो अभी राइट नाउ हम लोग एडवांस ऑथराइजेशन से इंपोर्ट कर रहे हैं ताकि कस्टम ड्यूटी नहीं लगती है.
yes.
सपोज कि हमें अगर आगे रिफंड में जाना है और हम ऑप्शन करें कि जो ड्यूटी लगती है इंपोर्ट के वक्त, तो वो भी रिफंड हो सकती है.
हाँ, वो हो सकती है. उसके लिए जिनेश जी, जिस पोर्ट से आप एक्सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, आप ये नोट कर लीजिए, उसको स्कीम का नाम है ड्यूटी ड्रॉबैक ब्रांड रेट फिक्सेशन. तो उसमें स्पेसिफिकली एज एन एक्सपोर्टर आपको ब्रांड रेट मिल जाता है पोर्ट से, which basically examines your import duty paying document and it entitles you कि भाई ठीक है, आपने इतना ड्यूटी पे किया हुआ है तो इतने एक्सपोर्ट पे आपको ये ब्रांड रेट मिल जाएगा. तो बेसिकली देयर आर टू काइंड्स ऑफ ड्रॉबैक. वन इज कॉल्ड ऑल इंडस्ट्री रेट which is available to everybody, and then there is another duty drawback called brand rate, duty drawback brand rate fixation, that is available port to port. So you have to apply commissioner port. और ये जो ड्यूटी ड्रॉबैक डायरेक्टरेट है जो अभी RODTP फिक्स कर रही है, 2003 तक यही ऑफिस जो था, ये पूरे इंडस्ट्री के ब्रांड रेट यहीं से होते थे. बट ये 2003 में डिसेंट्रलाइज होके it went to central excise offices, and after the GST came 2017 July से, it has been given to the port commissioners.
Okay.
So in questions में से एक क्वेश्चन इसी पर था, that has been answered. Other one, somebody has asked that different shipping line charges, various charges against different headings. Please explain which charge heads should be considered.
नहीं, देखिए इसमें जो भी शिपिंग लाइन के बेसिकली इसमें देयर आर टू काइंड ऑफ डिडक्शंस. मैं भी थोड़ा समझा देता हूँ और फिर आई थिंक ऋषभ जी भी कमेंट कर देंगे. बट बेसिकली शिपिंग लाइन में अगर कोई ऐसी टैक्सेस है जैसे कि अगर रिवर्स जीएसटी है तो वो तो मिलेगा नहीं, वो तो जीएसटी का तो क्रेडिट मिल जाएगा. बट अदरवाइज बाकी अगर कुछ है तो वो जरूर यहाँ पर मिल जाएगा. ऋषभ आप इसमें थोड़ा बताइए.
जीएसटी आप जो रिफंड ले रहे हैं जीएसटी में, जो आपका वैल्यू चेन का पार्ट है, दैट इज इंटैक्ट, दैट इज गोइंग टू बी एज इट इज. whatever is not available as of now, या कहीं पे डबल जीएसटी जैसे ओशन फ्रेट वगैरह के ऊपर कुछ डिस्प्यूट चल रहा था, बट नाउ दैट इज मोर और लेस सेटल्ड. अदर देन दैट, इफ देयर इज एनी काइंड ऑफ अ सेस व्हिच इज एप्लीकेबल, क्योंकि अभी हम सुन रहे हैं कि कुछ स्टेट और सेंटर का जो चल रहा है सेस कैन बी फर्दर एक्सटेंडेड आल्सो एंड इट मे कम ऑन वेरियस प्रोडक्ट्स. तो उस तरह के जो एलिमेंट्स हैं दोस विल बी पार्ट ऑफ RODTP. नाउ द क्वेश्चन इज if there is no cess at this moment when the rates are fixed, and after 6 months or 1 year if something comes, then what will happen to that? Probably that is an open question as of now, but we assume that this rate also will get revised as and when these kind of a situation may come.
Okay,
so just to answer the two questions, one is on the at present, whatever GST you are reversing in your value chain which is available, you can add. On the second point, if there is any new cess which will come in the future, that may also form part of the revision in the RODTP rate as and when it will come.
Okay. And on shipping line, another similar उस पे क्वेश्चन एक और है कि शिपिंग लाइन जब अपनी एक्सचेंज रेट लगाती हैं तो वो 2-3 रुपया ऊपर लगाती है, तो उसकी वजह से जो कंपोनेंट आ रहा है नॉन उसका, तो वो
I think ये this will not be, ऐसे काफी एलिमेंट्स हैं. इंटरेस्ट कॉस्ट है आपका, इस बैंकिंग चार्जेस वगैरह हैं, इनको सेपरेटली रिप्रेजेंट करना होगा. आई थिंक विवेक जी कैन थ्रो सम मोर लाइट ऑन दिस. विवेक जी.
नहीं, इसका अभी देखिए इस स्कीम में कोई कंसिडरेशन नहीं है. बट वही बात है कि जहां तक रुपए डॉलर का सवाल है, अभी तो फ्यूचर ही थोड़ा अनसर्टेन है. एक्सपोर्टर्स को तो आज की तारीख में लॉस है. रुपी जो है स्ट्रॉन्ग है, डॉलर ऑलरेडी 2 रुपए सस्ता ही हो गया है, तो कैसे भी इसको सोच सकते हैं. बट इसका नवीन जी इस स्कीम से कोई लिंक नहीं बन पाएगा.
एक और क्वेश्चन आया है somebody is asking that what about infrastructure costs? Do we have a scope to get the same considered while calculating new scheme? I think infrastructure से मतलब उनका या तो अपनी खुद की इंडस्ट्री के इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर
नहीं,
की बात कर रहे हैं,
बेसिकली किसी भी तरह की कैपिटल कॉस्ट जो है वो इस स्कीम में आनी मुश्किल है।
नहीं लेकिन जो भी हम टोल पे करते हैं, क्योंकि अभी टोल भी एक बहुत बड़ा अमाउंट हो जाता है, वो तो आएगा पर टन टोल
नहीं,
भी कॉस्ट से लेने।
टोल भी नहीं आएगा सर।
अच्छा, टोल भी नहीं आएगा। ओके, सो आई थिंक देयर इज नो मोर क्वेश्चंस एंड वन मोर क्वेश्चन आजकल। ओके, ही इज सेइंग मींस जीएसटी ऑन बिल्डिंग कैन नॉट बी इंक्लूडेड। वो
नहीं
उन्होंने क्लैरिफाई किया, विच इज नॉट वेटेबल। ओके, नहीं आएगा। ओके, परफेक्ट। सो आई थिंक वी कम टू एन एंड ऑन टुडेज वेबिनार एंड आई विल पास ऑन टू जिनेश भाई फॉर वोट ऑफ थैंक्स।
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. First, I would like to specially thanks Sri S.N. Panigrahi ji, Sri Vivek Gupta ji, and Sri Rishabh Suvansuka ji for devoting their precious time for being a speaker at this webinar and sharing in depth knowledge and practical approach to the RoDTEP. Your words will surely help the trade to get maximum benefit out of this new scheme, which will replace the existing MEIS scheme. I hope that all the attendees would have benefited by attending this webinar as a whole. Idea of this webinar was to help all the attendees to understand the RoDTEP impact on their profitability and how they can safeguard their interest by timely submission of value chain data to trade forums, export promotion councils, and enabling them to get the best RoDTEP rate fixed for their respective industries. I would request each one of the attendees, if you still have any doubts, you can reach Rishabh ji or you can write to MRAI Secretariat, which will help each one of you in the best possible manner. Lastly, I would like to thank President MRAI, my colleague board of directors, and entire administrative team of MRAI who have spent their time and energy in the welfare of recycling trade of India during the tough time of COVID-19 by organizing various government official meetings, webinars with various experts, and meeting with legal teams. I once again thank you all. Thanks a lot. Goodbye.
Okay, thank you Rishabh ji, Vivek ji, Panigrahi sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Naveen ji, Anirudh ji, Shah sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much all.
Okay, bye bye.